welcome to today's Almost Daily Devotional. We are continuing in Acts. We're in chapter 9 now, and we're getting ready to meet our friend Paul. We met him a little bit, a couple chapters back at the stoning of Stephen, and now we're going to meet him when he meets Jesus. So this is where we are in chapter 9. Meanwhile, Saul was still spewing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. He went to the high priest seeking letters to the synagogues in Damascus. If he found persons who belonged to the way, whether men or women, these letters would authorize him to take them as prisoners to Jerusalem. During the journey, as he approached Damascus, suddenly a light from heaven encircled him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice asking him, "Saul, why are you harassing me?" Saul asked, "Who are you?" "I am Jesus, whom you are harassing," came the reply. "Now get up and enter the city. You will be told what you must do." Those traveling with him stood there speechless. They heard the voice but saw no one. After they picked Saul up from the ground, he opened his eyes, but he couldn't see. So they led him by the hand into Damascus. For 3 days he was blind and neither ate nor drank anything. In Damascus there was a certain disciple named Ananias. The Lord spoke to him in a vision. "Ananias," he answered, "Yes, Lord." The Lord instructed him, "Go to Judas's house on Straight Street and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul. He is praying. In a vision, he has seen a man named Ananias enter and put his hands on him to restore his sight." Ananias countered, "Lord, I have heard many reports about this man. People say he has done horrible things to your holy people in Jerusalem." The Lord replied, "Go. This man is the agent I have chosen to carry my name before Gentiles, kings, and Israelites." So Paul, or Saul, is the last person that the church would have picked to be the newest apostle for God's kingdom. Paul had persecuted them. Paul was a zealot, which meant he had no patience for other people and their experiences or their opinions. He was going to do what he wanted to do. I mean, he went to the temple to get permission to go and arrest people. He was not a nice guy. He was not um, like the others who had been picked, who were kind and or at least had seen Jesus in real life. There's no evidence Paul ever met Jesus when Jesus was in human form. And so that poses a problem because remember, the church decided that the only people who could be apostles were those who had seen Jesus, in the risen form. And so Luke, the author of Acts, solves this problem in an interesting way. He does that by telling us about a Christophany. A Christophany is an appearance of Christ that's done in a way that's shocking or unusual. And in this case, the Christophany is the light that appears around Paul and the voice that he hears. This is a very common story in Greek literature. And actually it's in Second Maccabees, so it would have been familiar to the Jewish people as well. This was one of the ways that the gods said, "You, I pick you." So it happens throughout both pieces of literature that this is God's way of picking people, of saying, you're the guy, I'm picking you, is by appearing in light and speaking to them. Um, Now, Paul has to prove that he belongs. Ananias's reaction of, "No, not that guy, don't pick that guy," is the same as the reaction of everybody else in the church. They couldn't believe God picked that guy, the one guy that they didn't like, the one guy that they thought um, was a bad guy, was the wrong guy. But that's who God picked. God picked the person who didn't seem like they were right fit. God picked the person who was going to lead the church in a different direction. God picked the person who was going to spread the church out. Because Paul was not from Jerusalem. So we have to remember that God often picks people for leadership, for direction, who we may think are strange or not the right pick. But God always gives evidence, like a Christophany, that they are the right person. We just have to look. So who are we ignoring? Whose voice do we ignore that maybe we should be listening to?